Argentina prevail, but the entire world applauds Cabo Verde. Meanwhile, Egypt have sent the woeful Socceroos packing. Colombia make light work of Ghana. Nagelsmann out Klopp in for Germany. And Big Ange is set to link up with CR7's Al Nassr. This is DMAC Daily. Cabo Verde's World Cup dream is sadly over, but today this simply extraordinary team became the people's champions. That performance, man, that game is one for the history books. Game of the tournament without a shadow of a doubt. One of the all-time greats, really. It's just crazy to think that the smallest nation ever to feature at the World Cup in their first tournament really went to battle against Spain, Uruguay, and then Argentina. They are straight up World Cup heritage, and even though they lost 3-2, the whole world was captivated by this fascinating team today. Because coming into this match, this appeared to be one of the great knockout stage mismatches on paper. Argentina's squad was over 750 million euros more than Cabo Verde's. This Argentina team was also in top form coming into today. 3 straight wins. Their maestro, even at 39 now, has somehow been in career best form in the World Cup. It seemed unthinkable that the tournament's reigning champions in a stadium in Miami full of 90% Argentines would face any real threat from the African underdogs. But then again, Cabo Verde have been defying the odds since the beginning, where they first stunned Spain, holding them to a point. And on that day, their 40-year-old goalkeeping veteran stole all the headlines. But I was even more impressed with the side in their following 2 match days, because Uruguay, again, is another traditional powerhouse country, a 2-time World Cup winner, and they bagged 2 goals against them in a draw that day before dominating Saudi Arabia to clinch second spot, going undefeated heading into the knockouts. That in itself was a miracle. But they were unfortunately rewarded for doing so with a tie against the reigning champions. So having conceded in the first half thanks to some more messy magic, it felt like their time was running out. Side note, another ridiculous moment of individual quality from the Argentine. That goal was crazy. His 7th World Cup goal in 2026, his 20th in World Cup history, and it's also the 8th straight World Cup game he has now scored in. I am at a loss for words, really. But anyways, 1-0 down at halftime. Cabo Verde's chances seemed very slim, but in the second half, everything changed. 59 minutes in, and Duarte was played in, where he then blasted one past Martinez in goal, sending shockwaves all throughout Argentina and the entire world. Moments later, Messi looked to respond in an instant, but was denied by their brick wall in goal. Messi then tried to catch him out with a quick free kick, but Vozinha was quick to react himself. It was a proper dogfight, but the Blue Sharks managed to keep them at bay, avoiding defeat in regular time like in all 3 of their previous match days. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but there was more insanity to come. Now, Argentina came out firing in extra time just 2 minutes in, and a remarkably composed touch and then finish from Lisandro Martinez restored their lead. But then the moment of the tournament arrived. Sydney Lopez Cabral, the 2-footed left back currently plying his trade in Trabzonspor, does something out of this world, picking up the ball on the edge of the box, cutting inside past McAllister, and then bending it top bins. That was pure cinema. In the immediate aftermath, both his nearest teammates put their hands on their heads in shock. Even Cabral himself can't believe what he just did. The fact that he then immediately ran the full length of the pitch to celebrate with his girlfriend too is just so iconic. Sadly for Cabo Verde though, Argentina would go on to score a third. Romero's header hitting Borges and going in to go 3-2 up. Unbelievably though, they kept pushing to the very end. Martinez pulled off a crazy save from another Cabral effort as world champions Argentina narrowly survived the almighty Cabo Verde. Like, the fact that these guys went band for band with this Argentina is one of the most astonishing things I've ever seen in World Cup history. Like, Argentina weren't even bad today. They just came up against the most terrifying underdog to ever do it. It's sad that their journey now ends, but honestly, I feel like their cultural impact of this tournament will be felt for generations to come. Although in saying that, there's a lot of young talent within this team that will only improve in the next few years ahead. Separate note, I keep seeing Cabo Verde's success used to highlight the merit of an expanded World Cup, but people forget that Cabo Verde didn't qualify because of the expanded format. No, they topped their African qualifying, finishing above Cameroon. Whether it was 32 or 48 teams, they were going to be here one way or another, and well and truly, delivered in full. Nothing but respect for the Blue Sharks. As for Argentina, that would have definitely taken them by surprise today. I mean, Scaloni's reaction to their third goal being scored was telling. Bro was on the verge of tears after his side were on the verge of the most improbable upset in World Cup history. A match I will certainly never forget, that's for sure. We move next to Dallas, where my beloved Socceroos, aka the tournament favorites, have been knocked out by Egypt on penalties in one of the most absurd, weird games of football I've watched in some time. First things first, big up Egypt, because you guys fully deserve to win this match. You guys actually showed intent to score for the full 120 minutes. You guys had a manager in charge that evidently knew exactly what he was doing out there, and from 70 minutes on, there was only one team playing football today, so credit to the Pharaohs, a huge moment for Egyptian football. In saying that, I am absolutely livid with what unfolded today. Tony Popovic, hang your head in shame. You have failed spectacularly on the world stage. Not because you lost today, no, but because of your tactical ignorance, your illogical decision making, and your unwillingness to deviate from overt pragmatism. I take back all my previous praise from that tournament opener against Turkey, because in hindsight, that wasn't a defensive masterclass. That was a fluke result against the inevitable laughingstock of this year's World Cup. Individuals were incredible that day, but ever since, everything Papa has done is borderline criminal. Iran Kunda was an absolute weapon out wide in game one, our most exciting winger in years. He and Toure gave Turkey all sorts of problems. Metcalf was equally impressive that day in that right inverted wing slot. So what does Papa do? He drops both of our goal scorers, where we then get comprehensively humbled by competent opposition. Could you imagine any other team doing that in a World Cup? Like, imagine France dropping Mbappe and Elise in match day 2 after they cooked in match day 1. It's actually insane stuff. Now, Papa managed to get us out of the group, reverting to this anti-football approach against a Paraguay side that wasn't even trying to score. He also dropped Toure in that game to play Iran Kunda out of position as a striker instead, a decision that even baffled Iran Kunda himself. Again, just bizarre selections from Papa. It felt like because the matchday 1 selection gambles paid off, he just kept doing crazy stuff all tournament. Today was no different. The same exact 11 that created very little last game were entrusted once again. The only positives today were seeing Harrington and Volpato stay in the team. Both are incredibly talented young players. Volpato came so close to scoring a screamer in this game, hitting the crossbar very early on, but Egypt soon took control and deservedly hit the front, surprisingly from a header too, as Ashur popped up at the back post. It got worse for the Socceroos when Jordi Boss, one of our standout performers, suffered what appeared to be a serious injury on the stroke of halftime. In the second half, the Socceroos did regain control and then equalized. A wicked set piece from Anil was turned in by Egypt's own Hani. From there on, we reverted back to pragmatism. Papa did bring on Toure, but took off Volpato and Iran Kunda in the process. Truth be told, we were lucky to survive 90 minutes, Beach coming up with a crazy save in stoppage time. Extra time was then a dull affair. Egypt were in full control. Substitutes Trezeguet and Hassan completely revolutionized their front line. It was panic stations every time either got the ball out wide, but the Socceroos held on, yet Papa went for another gamble, subbing off Beach for Ryan in goal. Ironically, Ryan was once subbed in for Redmayne in a famous penalty shootout victory many years ago, but this time Australia weren't nearly as successful. Egypt slotted all 4 of their attempts. Shout out to Mbappe for that inspiration, whilst the Socceroos missed 2, with central defender Suter missing first before youngster Harrington misfired. And look, I don't hold any ill will or criticism to the players who missed or Ryan in goal. Penalties are penalties. I just admire the courage of an 18-year-old centre-back to back himself on the world stage like that. I couldn't view Harrington any higher, honestly. What I can't wrap my head around, though, is why 2 centre-backs were in amongst our first 4 shot takers. I've never seen something like this. Hrustic, you've literally slotted a penalty in a Europa League final. Mo Toure, come on man, back yourself. You're our number 9. Beyond that, Papa only informed Ryan that he'd be in goal in extra time of that match. This wasn't a pre-planned concept. I'm sorry, this guy has completely lost the plot here. I'm just left stunned at how poorly this tournament has gone in the end, because you take that Turkey upset out of the equation and we've otherwise been bang average. Today, the Socceroos registered 1 shot on target in 120 minutes of football. We've scored 1 goal in our last 3 games, and it was an own goal. Yet Popper has the audacity to then bemoan the referees instead of taking any accountability for his own failure. Bro made a couple wild selections in game 1 that went well, and so he just kept that same energy all tournament of confusing everyone, even his own players. Meanwhile, the brand of football we played was atrocious. Like, this was the most talented crop of players we've had since the golden generation of 2006, and Popper threw it out the window because he loves pragmatism. I feel like no one in Australia is saying it, but I don't want this man leading the next gen of Socceroos. I was so wrong to assume in the past that he was the right man, because he's clearly not. We need to look elsewhere for answers, because the talent is there. Toure, Irankunda, Volpato, Ocon, Boz, Harrington, Chirkati, Beach. There's so much quality. So I'm devastated it's over, but still excited for the next gen. And yeah, good luck Egypt. Would be iconic if you guys pulled off an upset over Argentina. And off the back of today, I think they'll be backing themselves to do exactly that. And in the third and final outing of World Cup action today, Colombia have clinched their last 16 berth off the back of a 1-0 defeat of Ghana. And whilst the narrow scoreline of 1-0 may suggest this was a closely fought contest, don't be fooled. Colombia were comfortably the better team throughout, dominating possession, creating all the clear-cut chances, and not even allowing Ghana to register a single shot on target. The decisive goal arrived inside the opening 15 minutes. Suarez playing in a beautiful ball with John Arias arriving at the back post and expertly caressing a volley into the back of the net. Another polished attacking move from Néstor Lorenzo's side, whose fluid football has quietly made them one of the tournament's most impressive teams to watch. Luis Diaz was once again a constant threat on the wing. James Rodriguez dictated the play from midfield, whilst Puerta and Arias did all of that unseen dirty work that allowed Colombia to control the game from start to finish. I gotta say, I've been very impressed with this team all tournament. They won their opening 2 group matches before dominating Portugal in a 0-0 draw, firing 26 shots that day, and today's performance was more of the same, cruise control throughout. If there is one concern though, I'd say it's their finishing. Colombia have consistently created opportunities in all 4 games, but have lacked the clinical edge to put the results beyond doubt. Against stronger opposition later in the tournament, that could become a genuine issue. For Ghana, it was a frustrating end to their campaign. Carlos Queiroz once again set his team up to frustrate the opposition, just as they did against England in the group stages, but this time they offered virtually nothing going forward. Even in desperate need of an equalizer, it was basically one-way traffic. So the big question now is whether Colombia are the real deal. I personally think they very much are. They don't have the same volume of superstars as some of the other big hitters in the tournament, but the style of football they play and the tactical discipline of which they operate, I can genuinely see Colombia reaching the quarterfinals and potentially beyond. A potential quarterfinal with Argentina would be incredible scenes, but it's early days. Both nations have jobs to do first. So Colombia v Switzerland, that's going to be a proper dark horse clash if you've ever seen one. Heading to managerial news, and less than 24 hours after Julian Nagelsmann's resignation as Germany's head coach, it appears Jurgen Klopp is now on the verge of taking over the national team. Now, following Germany's shock World Cup round of 32 exits of Paraguay, Nagelsmann stepped down despite initially insisting he wouldn't resign, admitting the squad needed a quote fresh start after another disappointing tournament. The German Football Association moved quickly, identifying Klopp as its preferred replacement, and the former Mainz, Dortmund and Liverpool manager has now confirmed talks are underway. Klopp revealed discussions have progressed rapidly, but explained he first needs to speak with Red Bull CEO Oliver Minzlaff, as he remains under contract as the company's global head of football. Still, Klopp sounded optimistic that an agreement would be reached soon, saying, "I have a full tank and am ready," and believes there can be only winners if a deal is struck. It's crazy how quick Germany have since moved for the 59-year-old, but considering Germany have now failed to reach the last 16 at 3 consecutive World Cups, the DFB clearly believes a complete reset is needed. Few coaches worldwide carry Klopp's pedigree, having transformed Dortmund into league champions and then winning it all at Liverpool through his trademark heavy metal football. It'll assure Germans to know that when he first joined Anfield, they were all over the place too, and within the space of a few years, he changed everything. So if you're a German fan, you've got that to look forward to. Granted, nothing has been signed yet, but all indications suggest Klopp is the overwhelming favorite to become Germany's next head coach. And in another major managerial update in the last 24 hours, and Big Ange is set to link up with CR7 at Al Nassr, signing a 2-year deal with the Saudi Pro League champions in what marks a remarkable return to management after a turbulent spell in England. The Aussie has been out of a coaching job since October, when he was infamously dismissed by Nottingham Forest after just 39 days in charge. It was a completely disastrous stint, overseeing only 8 matches without registering a single victory before being shown the exit door. Since then, Postecoglou has been working as a pundit during the World Cup, but he's now set to return to the dugout in one of the biggest jobs in Asian football. He replaces Jorge Jesus and inherits a star-studded squad headlined by, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, alongside Joao Felix, Sadio Mane, and Kingsley Coman. It's an interesting appointment for both sides. Al Nassr are looking to build on their Saudi Pro League triumph, while Postecoglou gets the chance to rebuild his reputation after that recent disaster at Forest. That being said, it's easy to forget about just how highly regarded Ange was before that spell. He guided Tottenham to the Europa League title in 2025, ending the club's 17-year wait for silverware, although a disastrous 17th place finish ultimately cost him his job. Before that, though, he transformed both Yokohama F. Marinos in Japan and Celtic into league champions and domestic treble winners. Can't also forget about his Socceroos Asian Cup success or the greatness of Barcelona 2 in the A-League. Either way, I'm happy for him. I think this is the perfect environment for him to kickstart his managerial career. He's had success in Asia previously too. Maybe he could come back to the Socceroos in the future, as we could probably use a more ambitious manager down the line. Anyways, guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Appreciate you tuning in as always, and I'll see you next time.